She was Gloriana, she was the fairy queen, she was above all, the Virgin Queen. Queen Elizabeth I ruled England for more than 4 decades. Her reign was a golden age of exploration, art, national pride. She faced down the mighty Spanish Armada. She stabilized a nation torn apart by religious strife. She crafted an image of herself that was both divine and untouchable. She declared herself married to her kingdom. Her people were her children. This narrative became the bedrock of her authority, yet behind the facade of purity and strength, a profound secret may have been hiding. This image was her greatest weapon. In a world dominated by men, by kings, by popes, Elizabeth's virginity was her power. It made her an icon, a Protestant saint in a land that had rejected Catholicism. Suitors from across Europe vied for her hand. She skillfully played them against one another, using the promise of marriage as a tool of diplomacy, without ever surrendering her autonomy. She was not merely a woman on a throne, she was an enigma. Her personal life was a matter of intense state interest. Every decision was scrutinized. Every friendship was scrutinized. Every private moment was scrutinized. She lived her life in a gilded cage, surrounded by courtiers who were her servants and her jailers. But what if this celebrated identity was more than just political strategy? What if it was a necessary deception, a mask to conceal a truth so shocking it could have shattered her reign? The court of Elizabeth I was a vibrant, dangerous place. It was a world of shifting allegiances, where a well-placed word could make a fortune and a careless whisper could lead to the Tower of London. And amid the political maneuvering and jockeying for favor, the Queen's private life was the most potent source of gossip. Her status as an unmarried monarch was unprecedented. It was a constant source of anxiety for her council, who desperately wanted an heir to secure the Tudor line. The pressure on her to marry was immense, a relentless drumbeat that followed her throughout her reign. Every foreign prince was a potential husband, every English nobleman was a potential threat, every English nobleman was a potential favorite. The whispers followed one man above all others, Robert Dudley. He was her childhood friend. He was her master of the horse. He was, by all accounts, the great love of her life. Their intimacy was scandalous. They were rarely apart, they shared private jokes, they rode together, they danced with a familiarity that shocked foreign ambassadors. The Spanish ambassador, Alvaro de la Cuadra, wrote in his dispatches that it was impossible to believe they were not lovers. He reported rumors that they had secretly married. He reported rumors that the Queen was carrying Dudley's child. These were not just idle tales, they were considered serious intelligence by the courts of Europe, reports that could influence treaties and wars. When Dudley's wife, Amy Robsart, was found dead at the bottom of a flight of stairs, the scandal exploded. The official verdict was an accident, but half of England believed Dudley had arranged his wife's murder to clear the path to the Queen's bed and the throne. The suspicion was so intense that it made marriage between them impossible. The Queen, ever the pragmatist, knew it would destroy her. Yet she never sent Dudley away. He remained her closest confidant, her sweet Robin, until his death. Far from the gilded halls of Westminster in a quiet village in the Cotswolds, a strange local legend persisted for centuries. The story is tied to the village of Bisley. It tells of a time when the young Princess Elizabeth, then around 10 years old, was sent to stay at a local manor, Overcourt House, to escape an outbreak of the plague in London. The tale goes that the young princess suddenly fell ill with a raging fever and died. Her governess and guardians were overcome with terror. King Henry VIII, a man not known for his patience or forgiveness, was due to visit his daughter at any moment. His wrath would be terrible. In a state of panic, they frantically searched the village for a girl of similar age and appearance to stand in for the princess. But they could find no one. The plague had taken many, and the village girls did not have the princess's distinctive red hair. Desperate, they found their solution in a young local boy, a childhood playmate of Elizabeth's, who was said to bear a striking resemblance to her. This boy, known as Neville, was dressed in the princess's clothes. The deception was successful. The king, arriving for a brief and formal visit, did not notice the substitution. The ruse, born of desperation, became permanent. The boy from Bisley was taken back to London and raised as Princess Elizabeth. This story, known as the Bisley Boy legend, seems fantastical, like something from a fairy tale. Then, in 1870, a stone coffin was accidentally discovered by a workman on the property. Inside were the skeletal remains of a young girl, estimated to be around 10 years old, dressed in fragments of fine Tudor-era clothing. The discovery sent a shockwave through the small community, lending a startling air of credibility to the old tale. The owner of the house at the time, a man named Thomas Keble, reportedly had the remains reburied in a secret location to avoid a scandal. The grand reveal, the central claim of this 400-year-old mystery, is as simple as it is world-shattering. Queen Elizabeth I was a man. The boy from Bisley, substituted in a moment of panic, grew up to rule England. This is the ultimate secret she was hiding. It was not a lover, nor a hidden child, nor a physical ailment. It was her very identity. This theory posits that the entire reign of Gloriana, the golden age of England, was presided over by a monarch living a lie of unimaginable proportions. The weight of this deception would have been immense, a constant terrifying burden that shaped every decision, every relationship, every public pronouncement. If true, this revelation recasts Elizabeth's most famous attributes in a completely new light. Her renowned intelligence and grasp of statecraft were not just remarkable for a woman of her time, they were the skills of a person who had been playing the most difficult role imaginable since childhood. Her famous temper and emotional volatility could be seen as the immense psychological strain of maintaining such a profound and isolating secret. Her refusal to marry was not a political choice, it was an absolute necessity. The Virgin Queen persona was not a strategy, it was the only identity that could ensure her survival and the stability of her throne. The most dramatic implication is that the Tudor dynasty did not end with Elizabeth, it ended with the death of a 10-year-old girl in a country manor. The person who ruled from 1558 to 1603, defeated the Armada-sponsored Shakespeare-sponsored Raleigh was not Henry VIII's daughter. This person was an impostor, a prince in a queen's clothing. The sheer audacity of the deception, if true, would be unparalleled in the annals of royal history, a secret kept for a lifetime against impossible odds. Today, more than 400 years after her death, the mystery of Queen Elizabeth I continues to fascinate. Elizabeth I was one of the first rulers to truly understand the power of image. She crafted a public persona so potent that it has largely defined her legacy. The story of the Bisley boy is the ultimate challenge to that image. It suggests that, behind the most carefully constructed facade, there can lie a truth so radical it changes the entire story. The secret matters because it forces us to question the narratives we accept as fact. History is not a set of immutable truths. It is a story told by the victors and shaped by the secrets of the powerful. The enigma of Elizabeth's identity reminds us that even our most revered historical figures may have hidden depths and complexities we can never fully know. It highlights the immense pressure placed on leaders, particularly women, to conform to certain expectations. Elizabeth's virginity was her brand, but whether it was a choice, a medical necessity, or a grand deception, it was the central, defining fact of her public life. Ultimately, the only way to resolve the mystery would be to open Elizabeth's tomb in Westminster Abbey and conduct a DNA analysis of the remains within. But this is an act that the royal family and the Church of England have consistently refused to consider. Her final resting place, like her life, remains sealed against intrusion. This refusal, in a way, only adds to the intrigue. It leaves the door open for speculation, allowing the legend to live on. It protects the integrity of the icon she so carefully built, leaving Gloriana, the Virgin Queen, undisturbed by the prying eyes of modern science. It is a timeless lesson about the relationship between identity and power, between the public face and the private self. It speaks to our enduring fascination with secrets, with the idea that the world we see is not the whole story. The truth, whatever it may be, remains locked with her in her tomb, an eternal enigma.